So at that time, like, did you have this question like, this is an online course, how will it be actually?
Yeah, actually, I had doubts because there are two or more programs. In fact, the scalar one. So I had this doubt, and that's why I also inquired from myself too. I saw people getting connected on LinkedIn actually, that they were connected through EdYoda and things. But yeah, somewhere inside me, I had that confidence that once I get into this, something good is going to happen with me. So I went with my instinct basically more rather than searching for more. Because and one thing I was satisfied with was because I saw many programs, but that program wanted that we come to the institutes, go there physically and something like that. But with EdYoda, what was the best thing for me was getting knowledge online, clearing the everything, exams and everything went online. Nothing was in physical. There was no physical presence required for this thing.
So before like EdYoda, did you do any course before that was like this live class sessions online?
No, not actually. I had just done certifications from Udemy. That's a platform I found could help me with the learnings and everything. So yeah, I just did it with Udemy. And other than
And
that,
this was, you were saying, during the COVID time 2020.
yeah, during the COVID time 2020.
So was it also because of that that you were not keen on going for offline, you wanted online was better?
Yeah, actually, because what other classes were, it was not an indoor actually. The classes were not in indoor, even different cities. So at that time, I was not okay with going to different city for learning, basically. Yeah, in fact, in Bangalore only, there might be two or more institutes in the same way, but they were not offering that online classes. So that's why I joined EdYoda. It was an online class. It make you learn with the ease and you be tension free. You need not to go physically at some place and you need to learn. We can learn at any time that is feasible for us.
And what was that one thing that made you like, okay, I'm going to join EdYoda only?
The struggle I was into before joining EdYoda made me feel that now we need to do something. We need to learn the things in a more proper way, getting a direction from someone properly. Somewhere, I would say that we can study a lot from ourselves. There are so many platforms, there is YouTube channel for us that can make us learn anything and everything that we want to learn in our life. But above that, what I feel majorly required is somebody to guide in a proper way. We may learn advanced before basic after we don't know what we are learning into, and somewhere sometimes we even don't know if what we are learning right now is going to help us in any way or not. So there I feel we need someone above us to tell us how to move in that path. How they We need someone at some place to guide us that how can you go get a better job, you can get a better company, how to work properly, how you can work properly after you get into a company. That guideline is very much required. That path to the person who can show a proper path, that mentor is very much required, and we have seen it throughout our school and college time that that guideline is always required from someone. So getting knowledge online from internet is fine, but at some point when we really want to learn something properly, we need some mentor for that.
And also, like, one thing I want to know, like, by this time when you are going to join EdYoda, like, you had left TCS or you are working as well as now trying to join a program?
No, I left TCS. It was I joined EdYoda before that. I think 6 months before only I left TCS. After
That
leaving TCS, I for 3 to 4 months I tried myself only, doing interviews and trying for interviews and learning by myself. Yeah.
Hmm. After that, it
But
didn't
then at the
work.
end,
Hmm.
yeah, it didn't work in any way. I was tired of doing the same thing again and again and getting the same feedback again and again. Eventually, in fact, I got suggestions from the people, from the interviewers also, that you do some industrial training, you do some proper training, and get some proper certificates from a proper institute, from a well known institute, so that when a person sees that from where you have done your certifications, that affects, that brings an impact on your interview too. So many people suggested me this also, that you get a proper training from a proper institute somewhere. So it might help you because you have not done much in the background, in the technical field that we want to get into in. That
And
made
like,
me realize finally.
and also like when you are giving this interviews, was there any point you are feeling like, man, I'm giving like so many interviews, but nothing is happening. I'm just losing hope now. This is not going to happen.
Yeah, this time comes. This time definitely comes at a point we feel that nothing is gonna happen. So we don't get anything clear. But what we need to have is confidence in ourselves. And one thing is required to motivate yourself that no, you can. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months. But if you really desire for something, you definitely get that no matter what. You just need to be consistent in what you are doing. One or the other day, you are going to get what you want. And that I have personally realized in my life because after my college, I didn't face difficulty in getting praise. So I eventually found out that it's an easy process. It's not that difficult. But the difficulty went when I actually wanted to move from my operations to the development area. So I realized that it's not that easy way, but I'm gonna make it up at somehow. It took time, but it happened.
So you left TCS that time, you were trying but not getting placed. Then you said there was a gap in between. So at that time, like, were you studying or looking for programs, or what was happening at that time?
Yeah, I was studying by myself. When I joined EdYoda, Python was not that new to me then. Because I studied about Python, I studied about the basics and everything. But studying something is different. But how it's going to get implemented, how we're actually going to use that language is very different thing. And how I'm going to use the learning, how I'm going to use my knowledge is something that I learned from EdYoda.
Okay.
I got to
So
know
you
that
were
how Python, yeah,
so
how
you
the
were
languages are
already
going to be
learning on
used.
your own. So what was
Yes.
your major expectation from the program, that what did you want to learn from the program?
Major expectation for my program was basically like I was learning. So I knew Python, I knew Django, how it works, how programming is done. Eventually, we can see on YouTube they can make you do a project itself. But at some places when you get stuck, at some places when some of the concepts are not clear at all, we need someone at that point to make us clear those points, to make us clear those confusion. So at that place, I found EdYoda helping me in every way. The mentors helping us in every way. Wherever I got stuck, I didn't get clarity with any concept. So that concept clarity came from EdYoda because howsoever, how many questions you type in internet, how much you Google, how can you learn this, how to explain this, explain that, everything happens. That's for sure. But for me personally, I knew I need a physical person to explain me something. That's why I actually always need a mentor in my life to explain me properly rather than just googling it and doing finding an answer on Quora. I need a physical mentor to help me guide that. So EdYoda helped me in that way.
Okay, so now you joined the program, and I also know that you are already started learning on your own. You have some knowledge. So when you started actually attending the classes, did you feel sometime like, okay, I know these things already, I'm repeating it again?
No, I actually didn't feel that. I actually didn't feel it. I was always amazed. Okay, I studied this, but I didn't knew more about it, and I didn't knew that this is happening because of this. So those concepts got a more and more clarity the day by day I had the class. In those classes, I never felt a single day that I have learned this and I can skip this class. I never felt it. In fact, I always felt that okay, tomorrow's class is about this. I might read about it, but tomorrow I'm definitely going to get some extra information from them.
And like one question that students have before joining the program itself, like they want to know, like how much knowledge do the instructors have? Are they good or not? So what would you tell them?
Well, I would say that they are very well equipped with their knowledge, no doubt in that. They help in every way. I never felt about regarding any mentor that okay, they don't have that much knowledge, so they can't help me in this. Of course, they have proper knowledge, they have full knowledge, they are great mentors, I would say.
And like how were the doubts, like because this is online, so how would the, if you have doubts, how would you ask them?
EdYoda makes a platform, right? So on that also we used to keep the questions, and even we had the doubt clearing sessions. And while the classes were going on, at that time also we got the clarity if we had any. concepts related questions or something like that. So eventually, through while the program went, eventually things got cleared. It was that way.
And like, was there any, like, if suppose I have some simple doubt, maybe very basic, like, is it like open to ask, or how is it like?
Yeah, it's definitely open to us. I was never, I am a person, I am a kind of a person who asks silly questions. And I already know that it might be a silly question, but I need a clarity for that. But EdYoda mentors never made me feel that this is a silly question or this question you should have not have asked. Or they never told me that this was already taught in class, so you should have asked at that time, or were you not clear at that time itself. It was nothing like that. I was in fact told, we were in fact told that you can ask 100 times the same question. We are here to clear your doubts. Because somewhere I feel the same doubt also, no, if we ask for the third time, maybe something new we can get, some new knowledge we get, even asking for the same question third time. So yeah, being me as a person asking silly questions, I continue with that, and I don't mind even asking that. I need my clarity, and I got that definitely 100%. I got that clarity from Yoda.
So anyone planning to join the program, no doubts, you can, like, any doubt you have, you can freely ask, no
Yes,
hesitation.
definitely. And you must ask. You must ask. That's our right to ask questions and give a headache to our mentors. That's
And
our right,
and
definitely.
what was that some doubt session also you were telling? If you can explain a little bit about that.
While the classes had a particular time, right? So we would tell our mentors that we have this doubts or something like that. So then they would arrange a class for that properly. That they were just the doubt solving questions. Like sometimes they when we got the assignments, so we needed the answers also for the assignments, and not the answers for the clarity also for some questions maybe that we were not clear with how to make the code for that, something like that. So for that, the mentors used to make a different session for different timing. They could set a particular time that everyone was okay with, and we would have a doubt clearing session, which was purely on the basis of the clearing the on particular on the assignments and everything that they gave, so that we could have more clear concepts and we could have clear our doubts if we're not able to do any questions.
So this was like a separate session apart from the normal regular class.
Yes. This was a separate session apart from our regular classes, because in a regular class, it's a bounded time and a bounded concepts that have this concept today has to be cleared or something this has to be taught today. So yeah, this was the classes that were other than our learning sessions. Our classes for the particular time, but these sessions were other than this, apart from this.
Okay. And like while you were studying, like how was your schedule like now? Evening was the live session classes, but at other time, because now you are like full focused on this learning, how would you divide your time, like full day schedule?
My full day schedule would go majorly in studying, basically, because I was not doing anything other than that at that time. I used to give my some time to study, some time to coding practice. After the session went a little late in the night actually. After I think I don't remember much. It was 7 to 9 or something like that, maybe like that. So yeah, once the class gets completed of a day, I used to just revise what I got to learn. I just used to revise, and then the next day, in the morning, I am a morning person actually, so I used to wake up in the morning early and I used to revise my concepts of the last day. And for the other days that I have learned so far, I used to go through the questions, I used to go through the assignments whenever I felt that I need to study about a particular topic or something like that. So, yeah, in that way, I used to study.
And how important do you think is practicing? Like one is you're attending the class, trying to understand what is happening, but without practicing, will it work?
Attending a class is a very small part of your learning actually. Attending, you have attended class, you have made the notes, everything is fine, but unless you don't practice, you don't practice and practice, you will never know what you studied and why you studied. To get a better understanding of why you studied this, practice is very much important. While we practice, we get the questions to ask. We get doubts only when we actually when we practice, we get to know that we have this doubt, and we get to know ourselves that yeah, we didn't actually understood this point, or we are not clear with this particular concept. We only get this once we practice. Just reading and attending classes not actually enough anyway. We actually need to practice, and I would say the EdYoda program is also in such a very systematic manner that even if you don't pick your extra time, or even if you don't get you don't have to bring any extra, get extra time for learning. Even if you learn properly what they have taught today, you revise that, and you do the assignments properly, honestly, what they have given you the questions to do, what they have done to code to do. Even if you do that, that is more than enough for you. Even if you don't want to go extra, even if you learn only that much mentors are asking for you, and majorly on the assignments and on the questions they have asked you to do, that is also enough for you. But you need to be consistent in that. Do not skip a day, do not skip any classes majorly. Consistency is very much required, and practicing is very much required. Even if you repeat practicing doing the same questions that you have done earlier, that would be also good for you. But you need to be consistent in your learning and practicing.
And from your point, I want to know a little bit more about this assignment and projects. Like, what is the difference and what happens in both?
Actually, while we are learning a particular concept, like I learned Python. So there was basic Python and then advanced Python. So while we were learning daily, we used to get some questions, or the teacher gave us to think about a point, that if it's happening like this, why it might be happening, what would be the reason behind it, like that. So those were the assignments on the daily basis. On a 3 days, we used to get the assignments. And once we used to cover that whole concept, on the basis of that, we used to get a project to do. So like I finished Python. So after finishing Python, I got a project related to Python, that using the Python language, I had to make a project with that. Once I learned Django, my Django classes were complete. Then I had to make a project that had involvement of Python and Django both. Once I completed with database, so I had to make a project. The project topic, the requirements, fields, everything was given by teacher. Everything was details were given by teacher. What we need to do, how we need to do. But yeah, once we are getting completed with our that knowledge, we had to make a project related to that, so that we could also that was beneficial for ourselves actually, because we got to know that what we are learning, how can we use it. The making project is the best way to understand that how we use the language, how our knowledge is going to get used while we create a project, while we make a project. And then we used to, if in fact, not only just making a project, explaining a project is also equally important in this way, giving the demo. Because while you get into an office, you work, it's just not making a project and delivering it. You need to explain your clients the same thing that you have created. So EdYoda made me, in the last time while I was making project, I was creating demos, it made me feel like I was working in an office where I was told to do a particular project and I had to deliver it. And in fact, I have to give a demo for it. I have to make them understand that what I made, why I made, what is it doing actually. Well, I would just advise myself, as I say always, that to what you never forget what you learn. In fact, go sometime back and revise what you learned. It might help you ahead. So keep learning and be consistent and keep learning. Learning should never get end. Never ever. And in fact, I have kept my EdYoda copies, notes very well right now also. If sometimes I want get back to those, I know where to get back and see those notes and get my clarity on the questions that I know might help me in my work.